Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome back again to my content at Mang, Kukuy. You know guys, like today I'm just gonna do something really off the beat than the usual content that I used to have, because right now I got one of my very special guests, one of the gorgeous teachers in one of the public international school in Surya Bangsa. Miss Kenny, I want you to introduce to like one of my folks here, like all the subscriber.
Okay. Hi everybody. My name is Yani Apriani, and at school my students call me Miss Yemi. And like what he already said, that I'm a teacher.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a teacher. I've worked in Surya Bangsa for 5 years, and I'm so excited to be a teacher until today because I can share knowledge to many people, especially my students.
All right, that's very awesome. I wanted to know exactly how did you initially start, like to figure it out, to how did you actually decide it yourself, like to take a journey, become a teacher until now, until this current time, and then like what exactly comes driven you like to take this decision as a teacher somehow?
Okay, so first, when I was graduated from my high school, I feel like when I do my college, there's so many spare time that I can do at home, yeah. So I decided to open private class at home.
Yeah.
My students came into my house, and then I start teaching there. I think house is the best or the comfortable place for me to teach. That's the first actually.
So I mean, basically like, that derives from yourself while you graduated from a high school, right?
Yeah.
Because in the beginning, initially, like you have decided to start to have a patience driven to become a teacher at that stage, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because I like children.
Is that
I
really
love
true?
children.
You love children, right?
And then how do I show my love? I think by sharing knowledge, becoming a teacher. I think that's the best.
From your perspective, because ever since you were in an elementary school and then you went to the let's say junior high school, and you went to high school, and you start to think about you wanted to become a teacher, right?
Yes.
Exactly. So so after graduate from high school, did you take any kind of a certification or like bachelor degree to take any kind of like education background?
I take English literature actually.
Oh, you took English, right? That's pretty good. That's why you speak very good English, right?
The point is, I love English.
Why is
That's
that?
the first, and then second, I love children.
All right.
And then that's why I decided to make private class at home.
All right.
I want to share my English because in Indonesia, some school don't use English.
That's the fact, exactly. Yeah. That's pretty
why
bad.
I decided to open private English course at home, and then I teach many students, and they still lack of English actually.
And you still you found out that, until nowadays, how did you see that the English itself, like towards all the students, like does every student in Indonesia, especially now in Tangerang or in Jakarta, like are they very well equipped with the knowledge of how to speak up in English? What do you think?
I think
are they still less or nowadays they become more practical then?
Yeah, at school they only learn about grammar, but don't know how to speak up. That's the point. I also want them to be confident in speaking English because one day they will feel that English is very useful for their life, right?
All right, yeah.
Especially when we are working.
Exactly, true.
We will meet many people from maybe other countries, even though from the same country, but I think that's one.
So that definitely, that was very cool. I mean, that derives actually from your inner strength, as if that you love English first, right?
Yeah.
So the second thing is you love taking care of the children.
Yeah.
So these two of combinations can be integrated, become something that you create. You capture yourself that you really want to become a teacher someday.
Yeah.
So
and you know what? I am the only one child in my family.
Really?
So I feel like I'm so lonely.
You're a loner, right?
Yeah. I wanna have many relation with others through children, and I feel maybe when I become a teacher, I will always feel that I'm young.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, that's really cool. I mean, so I wanted to ask you like something. So once you graduated from your bachelor degree as a literature of English, right? So that means that you started to have a career as a teacher in one of the public school, is that? Or does Surya Bangsa is the first, is one of the school that you start you commence your career path?
The first place I start to work.
Is it?
Yeah.
When was that?
About 5 years ago.
5 years ago. That was in like 2015, right?
Yes.
Okay, so how do you feel when first time I know even though you got an experience, right? Meanwhile, you got experience to teach people in English. I mean, to teach many students in English, right? But however, when you enter some kind of like a foundation school, right? When you enter the professional teacher, there should be some kind of a method that you should apply, right, to the student itself. Like, how did you feel that? Like, were you nervous at that time?
Really nervous,
Exactly
because
right.
when I entered that school, the Surya Bangsa School, I have to meet lots of students with a different situation,
Exactly, yeah.
different from my house. Like it's just in a room, small room.
All right.
At school, I saw many students with many parents outside watching
Exactly,
me.
exactly. And they definitely give some big hopes to you, right?
Yeah.
Like, what will that teacher do to my kids, right? They
Yeah.
expect a lot of things. They want something more than I mean, more than they expected, right?
Yeah.
So you were actually nervous at that time.
Really.
And how did you
nervous.
overcome that? I mean, it sounds pretty much of fun for me to get know about that. Like, how do you overcome?
How did I overcome it? Because I have people that always support me, surround me, like my principal.
Right.
Don't worry, this is one part when you become a teacher. So
All
just
right.
face it, believe in yourself, be confident, and it doesn't matter to make mistake. You learn from
It's
that.
fabulous, yeah.
And my parents, of course.
All right. So how long did it take you to get used to being not nervous anymore? Like, does it take like a few months, 3 months, or like probably 6 months for that?
Maybe about 3 months.
About 3 months, right? So after 3 months, you get used to that.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to create some own methods, like some innovative kind of a teaching way, right?
About the methods.
All right. Yeah, exactly.
I make my students attract with the way I am teaching.
Right.
How they love my way. Yeah, back to the teaching method.
Back to teaching method. So nowadays, having seen that all the students are very more critical, if you compare it to the back on a hindsight way, like back in a time that most students in early of 1990s are pretty much more silent rather than a student right now, right? At this stage, all the students are very critical. They love to think about logical thinking. They used to ask something, why does A has to be like this? Why does B has to be like this? There should be some logical, aspect that they need to know. And how do you actually see this, Ms. Jenny? I mean, it's a big challenge for you somehow, right?
Really challenging for me
Yeah.
because I have to read more books actually.
Exactly.
I have to read more information from the internet, of
All right.
course, and through our daily lives.
Yeah, true.
So all have the connection with
Yeah.
the real life
Yeah.
actually. But I love it.
But you
My
love it.
students just not just see the book and then open page
Right, yeah.
one maybe for example, and then if I do the way I'm teaching right now, if you become A, how would you create blah blah blah, or how will you think for the future? Maybe so.
All right.
They use
So kind of like the way of thinking.
Yeah.
You start to give some kind of things to compel
Yeah.
the children to speak up in the class, right? Rather than just to give some kind of a lesson, just write down and they're just gonna follow.
That's boring,
It's an old
actually.
school way, right? Probably. Exactly. Yeah. I
it's
mean,
really boring.
so this kind of method that you actually really shows to them, right? So it does really work. It did really work somehow.
Really.
Definitely worked. So it turns
And
to
I love
100.
to see them more creative, right?
Yeah.
They can be more confident
All
and
right,
speak up. Yeah, better than the way we study in the past.
Yeah. Exactly.
And nowadays we use projects to achieve the sport. Not
What kind of project is that?
can be creating something. So we give a theme, for example,
All right.
like when I taught grade 3, we are learning about surroundings,
Right. Yeah.
public places.
All right.
So like they create, what is it, a small building
Yeah.
using Legos, something. Yeah, that's kind of project can make our students become creative,
All right.
independent, right? And the teamwork also.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
it definitely I mean, the thing that you actually did was something that could create student become more productive. Means
Yeah.
that to show their leadership in the beginning, early stage of their childhood, right? I mean, it's totally changing. I mean, it's totally different than what I had last time because we never even thought about any leadership at all.
Yeah.
But what I saw about what really changed to my son, actually, he was in the 4th grade right now. He totally shows some kind of a change. He wants to lead something. he wants to, give some advice to us rather than just he keeps silent without saying anything. But whenever like the parents say to him like, "Hey, you got to do something like this," but he all of a sudden he say like, "I want to do this because I get my own reason why I have to do this," right?
Yeah.
So this is the fact. I mean, this is actually one of the most benefit point why why Surya Bangsa School gives some kind of a good method for their children to make more analogical thinking, right? Sort of like that. Yeah. So back again, in this current situation and the pandemic, right? Post the pandemic, like things, the education transition has been changed, right?
Really
Nowadays, before that, most of the students they study at their school, they do the face-to-face with the teacher as well, right? And there's some kind of engagement from heart to heart with the children, right? But recently nowadays, like these kind of activity are getting more retarded, right? Are getting more some kind of like, it's less of communications, less of attractions, less of kind of face-to-face. It makes the children sometimes feel a bit dull about it. So how do you see this, Miss Annie?
I think it's really hard for students
Exactly, yeah.
in catching the materials that I taught in the class, because when you are at home, even though your teacher is in front of you, and then when you see your brother or sister is coming into your room, so it will distract. So
Exactly.
many distractions.
It's obvious, yeah.
However, I already make my method fun through games, through videos. I think that's not enough.
All right,
So
yeah.
the best way is like face to face. But yeah, we know that one world feels the same. So
One rope they'll definitely feel the same, exactly. So what kind of method did you do? Like how did you attract and how did you compel the student as if to make them not bored sitting in front of the computer for a long period for that?
the method that I've been trying till today
Yeah.
is through, because I use PowerPoint, right? PowerPoint
Oh, right, that's cool.
can
Yeah.
input videos and then music.
Exactly.
And I also play games with them.
Exactly, right.
So yeah, that's the only method that
Exactly.
maybe I think I can use to teach my students the fun way. I think
That's really cool. Yeah, I mean that's awesome. That's
But
I mean,
still, the best way is by face to face.
are those activities like you said? You try to add some games, PowerPoint, do some creativity activity.
And art,
And art sometimes.
we also
I mean, of course, these kind of activities will push your brain to think a lot, right?
yeah, of course.
Then you got to think like without the box, not even like outside the box. You got to think something every day. What I should make different from today and to the another rest day, right?
And my working hours is more than just the normal life.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true. And
Because
even
I-
though when you have to go home, you have to do something,
Yeah,
right?
of course.
Exactly.
That's
So
okay.
there won't be any family time, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. I mean, so how do you feel that?
Yeah, I still have to face it.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I enjoy.
Okay.
Because I'm not alone.
Yeah.
Every
Perfect.
teacher also feel the same.
All right. So, is there anything that you feel craving about it? Like, what things that you miss from previous time when you used to have a normal life, a normal school activity, when you have to face all the students that you love? I think there's something that you really
Really
miss.
miss.
What is the
everything.
most things that you miss then?
I miss playing.
You miss playing, right?
Playing with my students. I miss touching.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, when we teach, we don't just explain about the material, right? We
All right.
also have to create a close relationship with the
All right,
students
yeah.
so that they will also trust in us.
Exactly.
They will love us, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I miss to spend
You really
all
miss,
the
right?
time.
Okay. So let's just like some wish for someday things will totally be changed, right? So let's figure it out that the policies that we have of being like we call it as a social distance, right? In fact, would take for some times. Like we won't take for the longer time. So let's wish like probably on December we could probably have the normal school. That's what I heard from the government issues, right? That they will release the regulation that they will let the student to go to school as a normal life, as a usual school works, right?
But I think better to wait until the really right time. Yeah, until everything is better,
Clear.
not like today. Because yesterday I heard that Indonesia increase in the number.
Exactly. Yeah.
Of,
I mean, all
sick
yeah.
people. Like COVID is really dangerous. I think.
it's totally very dangerous somehow. But okay, so give us some like powerful tips for the last question, Miss Annie. Like, what will be the most powerful tips for those young generations? Like, if they want to become teachers, is there any kind of powerful tips for them? You know, if they want to become the good, let's say, not only as a teacher, but as the teacher that has some kind of like good exposure in the leadership way. What would you suggest for them?
Well, I can only share the tips. First, you you are not just smart, yeah. You must have the heart first.
All right, compassion
Yeah.
is that? Can I say that's a compassion?
Yeah. So when you have the heart, you will love the students, you
All right.
will love your job, and you will love the parents also.
All right, yeah.
Like we create a new family at school.
Okay.
So that's my tips. When you have the love, when you have your heart, I think everything will be easy. Everything will be fine. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that's all.
So definitely like not only smart,
Yep.
but everything has to come from your inner strength, from a heart. You should feel that compassion when you love taking care of the children, right? So these variable things should be combined, and that is the one thing that you definitely can show a really true teacher is like. I mean, a true teacher, right? So that's a very good advice somehow, Miss Annie. Somehow, for the last thing that I want to say thank you to you. Thank you for giving some kind of like a good advice.
Yeah,
So
you're
it's the
welcome.
most wonderful time for me to having you to share some knowledge,
Nice to
to
be
share.
invited here.
Yeah, exactly. So you got any message to Mang Kukuy subscribers?
Okay, Mang Kukuy, thank you so much for watching. I
Alright.
hope everything that I shared today will be useful for you.
All right.
See you next time.
See you next time. All right. Thanks.
Bye.
Cheers. Poof.